I'm a senior in high school, and right now my Board of Education is seriously considering the movement to allow trans people or whatever gender they identify with to use that gender-specific bathroom in my school. So I'm just trying to figure out what point do we need to have it stop, or what points can you give me to go to the Board of Education and actually like rebound against what they're trying to say?
Yeah, that's great, man. That's God bless you. Look, I want to be very clear because I don't want to come across as cruel, but we do not reorganize society based on people's mental conditions, nor should we, okay? We should give people care, and care is not affirmation. Care is someone who's willing to tell the truth and challenge them back into what we know to be a flourishing, productive, and happy life. So if there is somebody that is a boy that thinks that he is a girl, and they want to say they want to have locker room access or whatever, well, then I would point to Loudoun County, Virginia, where a boy who thought he was a girl went into the locker room and twice raped a young lady. Twice. That's one example of several that happen across the country. But here's the one thing, and just to respond to the previous question in a separate way, he says, well, what difference does it make for you? And this is this is the traps conservatives fall in all the time, which is as if this entire movement stops just as acceptance. That's nonsense. So first they ask you to tolerate it, then they ask you to accept it, then they ask you to participate, and then they ask you to celebrate it. No, celebrate, then participation. And I'll give you an example. In Oregon, no, it was Vermont. It was Vermont, I'm sorry. In Vermont, there was a women's sports team, I think it was volleyball or basketball, where a man who thought he was a woman got locker room access. He started to harass the young ladies on the sports team, and by doing so, the young ladies then started to complain, saying, I'm uncomfortable with this man. Can you do something about it? The administration said the young ladies were being transphobic, even though he was dressing nakedly in a locker room next to other young ladies. They are now in probation and investigation for being transphobic because they don't accept the naked young man in the locker room because they're not tolerant enough to suck it up, even though a young man harasses them because they don't like being yelled at when they're getting changed in our locker room. So let me just kind of put aside any of the name calling as you care. As you can see, I don't care, and you shouldn't either. There is nothing they could call me, and I hope you, that will make me stop from having young men go into locker rooms and be predators towards our young girls. There's nothing you could possibly do to me. Nothing. And this is the great lie in like this kind of like we have to have everyone hear their own truth and like all this nonsense, is that we end up, those of us that believe in normal, basic Western values, having to change all of our customs, all of our language, all of our behavior for a hyper minority. And it happens because they prey on our great intentions. Because deep down, I think a lot of us want what's best. We love people, right? But stop being so naive. That's not what's happening anymore. It's not about loving people and accepting them. It's about changing your behavior so that they can exert control over you. That you have to have the right banner, or you have to have the right flag in your yard, or the right pronoun. Like, I'm not going to put up with it anymore. So all of that to say, advice for you, just come after it from a perspective of protecting those that can't protect themselves. There are multiple documented cases of men that go into female locker rooms. And the best answer is this. I've never heard a response to this. If a man thinks he's a woman, why can't he continue to change in the men's locker room? He can identify as a unicorn, a dolphin, or whatever. Why does he need a new locker room exactly? How is that relevant? They say, oh, well, because of his mental health. Answer. Okay, we don't all starve ourselves at lunch because someone is trying to lose weight. We don't mass accommodate society because one person has a problem. It's insane. And we got to stop putting up with it because, and I'll say this, tolerance is no longer a virtue in America. I refuse to be tolerant of evil. And I ask you to join me in